chosen ones. These 3 moon eclipses that mark your ascension dates. They are moments written into the fabric of the universe that are not random, not accidental, but encoded specifically for those who are awake enough to receive them. Moments when the veil thins, when the ordinary cracks open and something greater shines through. Moments that do not just pass like days on a calendar. They call us, summon us, initiate us into a new level of being. If you are here, if you are listening now, it is because you are one of the chosen ones. You have walked through fires that others don't even see. You have carried burdens in silence that would have crushed an ordinary spirit. And now your time is arriving. These 3 moon eclipses are not just astronomical events. They are the cosmic signals of your ascension. We live most of our lives believing that time is linear, that one day simply follows another, but those who are awake know time spirals, it loops and folds, it hides doors within ordinary minutes, and the great eclipses are doors, portals that can only be entered by those who recognize them. When the earth, the moon, and the sun align, they create more than shadows. They create opportunities for transformation that are written into your soul's contract. You agreed to this before you were born. You chose to come here, now at this time, to awaken, to remember, and to ascend. But free will is sacred. No one will force you to walk through the door. You must choose. You must see beyond the distraction of the world, beyond the noise, beyond the fear. You must hear the subtle voice inside you that whispers, "Now, it is time."
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Ask yourself, how many times in my life have I felt the pull of something greater but hesitated? How many doors have I almost walked through only to turn back out of fear? And what if these 3 eclipses are the final call, the final invitation to step fully into who you were always meant to become? It is no accident that eclipses have always been seen as omens by ancient cultures. They understood something we have forgotten, that the movements of the heavens mirror the movements of the soul. An eclipse marks a moment when the unseen becomes seen, when hidden forces reveal themselves, when the deeper truths of who you are can no longer be denied. And for the chosen ones, these moments are magnified 1,000 times over. The energy that pours into the earth during an eclipse is not neutral. It seeks resonance. It seeks those who are ready. It seeks you. But readiness is not about perfection. It is not about having all the answers or living a flawless life. Readiness is about willingness. Are you willing to surrender everything you think you are to become who you are meant to be? Are you willing to let go of the identities, the stories, the limitations that have kept you small? Are you willing to trust that the path will appear even when you cannot see it? Because what these eclipses demand most of all is trust. Trust in the unseen. Trust in the timing of your own life. Trust that the chaos you have survived was not random cruelty, but a necessary breaking open of the shell that contained your light. As these 3 eclipses unfold, each one will activate a different stage of your ascension. Each one will challenge you to release, to awaken, and to rise, and each will test the depth of your faith. Not in external systems, not in other people's approval, but in the sovereign power of your own soul. You may already be feeling it, the stirring, the restlessness, the sense that something immense is approaching. Dreams may be more vivid, emotions more intense, old wounds may surface seemingly out of nowhere. This is not regression, it is preparation. The soul brings to the surface anything that cannot be carried through the doorway. You cannot ascend while still carrying the weight of old betrayals, old fears, old illusions. They must be seen, they must be honored, and then they must be released. I ask you now, what am I still clinging to that no longer serves the truth of who I am becoming? Sit with that question. Feel it, even if it burns, especially if it burns. Because chosen ones are not those who were born without pain. We are the ones who learned to alchemize pain into power, who took the ashes of our old lives and built temples from them, who looked into the abyss and chose to create beauty anyway. These 3 eclipses are not gifts for the masses. They are sacred keys, entrusted to the few who have proven through lifetimes of struggle and triumph that they are ready. You are ready. Even if you feel afraid, even if you feel unworthy. The feeling of unworthiness is the last illusion designed to keep you from stepping through the gate. In truth, you have always been worthy. You were chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to grow. You are willing to love. You are willing to remember. And so, Bombay Roy, the gates prepare to open. The sky itself will darken and reveal truths hidden for generations. Energies that have been dormant in your DNA will awaken. Ancient memories will stir. You will not be the same after these eclipses. Not if you choose to walk the path they open. The first eclipse is nearer than you think. It marks the beginning of the end of your old life and the beginning of your true life, the life you were born to live, the life that until now has only existed in dreams and whispers. Will you answer the call? Will you step through the door? Because once you do, there is no going back. The first eclipse, when the hidden becomes visible and your true power awakens. The first eclipse is not merely a spectacle in the sky, it is a mirror. It is the moment when the truths you have buried deep within yourself are illuminated, whether you are ready to face them or not. The first eclipse does not politely knock at the door of your consciousness. It storms through, tearing down the walls you have erected around your true self. You may feel an intensity during this time that words cannot fully describe, a pressure building inside you, a sense that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life. And it is. The energy of this eclipse is coded with revelation. It is here to expose everything that has been hidden, not to shame you, but to free you. We live in a world built on illusions. From the moment we are born, we are taught who we should be, how we should act, what we should want. Layer upon layer of expectations are placed upon us until the soul's voice becomes faint, almost a whisper. But that whisper never dies. During the first eclipse, that whisper becomes a roar. You will find yourself face to face with all the parts of yourself you have ignored, abandoned, or denied. Your dreams, your wounds, your deepest longings. They will rise like a tide, demanding to be seen, demanding to be honored. This is not a time to run. It is a time to stand still and listen. Listen to what your soul has been trying to tell you all along. Listen to the truths you have been too afraid to admit. Listen to the calling that has never left you, even when you tried to silence it. The first eclipse strips away the noise of the world so that you can finally hear the sacred voice within. But Hearing it requires courage, because what you hear may challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. Ask yourself now, am I willing to see myself clearly, even if it shatters the identity I have clung to? Because clarity is the price of ascension. You cannot rise while clinging to old versions of yourself that were built to survive, not to thrive. You cannot step into your destiny while carrying the masks you wore to please others. The first eclipse demands that you drop them, all of them. Not because you are being punished, but because you are being liberated. During this time, you may feel waves of grief, confusion, anger, even despair. This is natural. You are mourning the death of illusions, the death of false selves. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to feel everything fully. Do not rush to fix, to numb, to distract. Sit with your emotions as sacred messengers. They are not obstacles to your ascension. They are part of the process. Every tear you shed during this time is a baptism. Every truth you face is a key unlocking the next stage of your journey. You may also notice synchronicities intensify around you, strange coincidences, dreams that feel more real than waking life, encounters that seem orchestrated by unseen hands. Pay attention. The universe speaks most clearly during moments of great transition. It is guiding you, aligning you, helping you shed what must be shed so that you can step into what you were always meant to become. The first eclipse is also the time to reclaim your forgotten dreams. What did you long for before the world told you who you had to be? What visions stirred your heart before fear taught you to settle? These dreams were never foolish. They were never random. They were seeds planted by your higher self, awaiting the right conditions to grow. And now, under the power of the eclipse, the soil of your soul has been broken open. It is time to plant those dreams again, not with the naive hope of a child, but with the fierce knowing of a warrior who has walked through fire and still believes in beauty. Remember this: the first eclipse does not destroy you. It destroys everything that is not truly you. It is not the end of your story, it is the end of your pretending. And what lies beyond it is more real, more beautiful, more powerful than anything you have yet known. I ask you to reflect deeply. If I released every fear, every mask, every limitation, who would I become? What life would I create if I trusted the voice within more than the noise without? These are not hypothetical questions. They are the keys to the door that stands before you now, waiting for you to walk through. The first eclipse will not wait forever. The energy builds, peaks, and moves on. The door opens and then closes. If you choose to ignore the call, you will continue to live in the half-light, carrying the weight of all you refuse to face. But if you choose to answer, if you choose to surrender to the truth rising within you, you will step into a life so rich, so vivid, so aligned with your soul's true purpose that you will wonder why you ever hesitated. This is not just about you. Your ascension ripples out into the collective. Every chosen one who rises helps lift the entire frequency of the planet. Every soul who says yes to their higher calling becomes a lighthouse for others still lost in the fog. Your healing is not selfish. It is sacred service. It is medicine for a world starving for authenticity, for courage, for truth. The first eclipse is the beginning, the cracking open, the great unveiling, and though it may feel like death, it is in truth the first breath of the life you came here to live. The question is not whether the eclipse will happen, it is whether you will be ready to rise when it does. The second eclipse, the death of the old self and the rebirth of your divine mission. There comes a moment in every true journey when the old self must die, not in violence, not in bitterness, but in surrender. The second eclipse is that moment. It is the sacred funeral of the person you thought you had to be. It is the passage through the dark night of the soul, the descent into the underworld where everything familiar dissolves. It may feel like losing yourself, but in truth, it is the most profound act of finding yourself. Because only when everything false falls away can the true mission of your soul emerge. The second eclipse demands something greater than courage. It demands faith without evidence. It asks you to walk forward even when you cannot see the ground beneath your feet. It strips you of the identities that made you feel safe, the roles, the labels, the stories, and leaves you naked before the great mystery. And it is in that nakedness that you are reborn, not as someone new, but as someone ancient, someone primal. Someone who remembers why they came here in the first place. During this phase, you may feel completely untethered from your old life. Relationships may fall away, careers may crumble, beliefs you once clung to may feel hollow and meaningless. This is not failure. This is sacred demolition. The structures of your life must be dismantled so that something truer can be built. If you resist this process, you will suffer. If you surrender to it, you will fly. Ask yourself in the silence of your heart, what am I still trying to hold on to even as it falls apart in my hands? What am I afraid to lose even though it no longer nourishes my soul? The death of the old self is not a punishment, it is a liberation. It is the doorway you must walk through to claim your divine mission. Every chosen one is born with a mission, a piece of the divine puzzle that only they can complete. But that mission cannot be fulfilled by the false self. It can only be lived by the soul in its purest form. And so the second eclipse tears away everything that obscures your light, not to punish you, but to reveal you. You may find during this time that your dreams shift. What once motivated you may feel empty. What once seemed important may seem trivial. New desires may arise, powerful and inexplicable, pulling you in directions you never imagined. Trust them. Your soul is realigning you with your true path. The discomfort you feel is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are being redirected by forces greater than your mind can comprehend. There will be moments when you want to go back. Moments when the temptation to return to old habits, old comforts, old illusions will feel overwhelming. But there is no going back. Once you have seen the truth, once you have felt the stirrings of your real mission, the old life becomes a prison you can no longer inhabit. You were not born to live in cages built by fear. You were born to soar beyond the known horizons, to carve new paths through the wilderness of existence. This is the time to ask yourself the deepest question of all. If I had nothing left to lose, who would I become? If I were no longer bound by fear, shame, or expectation, what life would I create? Do not answer quickly. Sit with the question. Let it burn away everything that is false. Let it carve a hollow space within you so that the truth can fill it. The second eclipse is the crucible. It is where the soul is tempered like steel. It is where you shed the skin of who you were and step into the blueprint of who you are always meant to be. It is not easy. It is not gentle, but it is sacred beyond measure. You are not being destroyed, you are being reborn. And when you emerge from the fires of this eclipse, you will not be the same. You will be aligned, you will be sovereign, you will be unstoppable, because you will no longer be living someone else's dream. You will be living your divine mission, the one that was written into the stars before you ever took your first breath. The second eclipse is not the end, it is the beginning of the real journey. It is the moment when you stop surviving and start creating. It is the moment when you stop doubting and start knowing. It is the moment when you realize that everything you ever needed was already inside you, waiting for you to remember. The old self must die so that the true self can live, and through that death, your light will shine brighter than it ever has before, not for the sake of fame, fortune, or validation, but because it is who you are. It is why you are here, labeled. The second eclipse is the sacred death that births the sacred life, and your time is now. The third eclipse, stepping into the infinite and becoming the creator of worlds. The third eclipse is not a test, it is not a trial, it is an arrival. It is the moment when the soul that has shed its illusions, that has walked through the fires of transformation, finally steps into its infinite nature. It is the crowning of your journey, the activation of your true creative power. It is when you no longer seek permission to exist, to shine, to create. You simply do. You simply are. The third eclipse is the point where you cross the threshold from seeker to creator, from dreamer to architect of realities. It is the moment when you realize that you are no longer at the mercy of the world. You are shaping it from the inside out. At this stage, you no longer chase after external validation. You no longer look to others to tell you who you are. You know. You feel your connection to the infinite pulse of the universe moving through you in every breath, every thought, every action. The separation you once believed in, the distance between you and the divine, has collapsed. You understand that you and the divine are not two, but one, that every desire planted in your heart was a sacred hint from the infinite, a call to remember your own power to bring worlds into being. During the third eclipse, the energy around you will feel electric, alive, almost overwhelming. You may experience moments where time seems to dissolve, where past, present, and future blur into a single, eternal now. Pay close attention to these moments. They are windows into your true nature. They are glimpses of the Creator within you, stirring awake. Ideas, visions, inspirations will flow through you with a speed and clarity you have never known. And it is here that the greatest responsibility is placed upon you to choose what you will create. Because to be a creator is not to impose your will upon the world recklessly, it is to listen deeply to the soul's vision and to manifest it with integrity, with love, with reverence for the sacred interconnectedness of all things. Ask yourself, with the full weight of your awakening, what world do I wish to bring into being? What legacy do I wish to leave imprinted upon this earth? What vibration do I choose to anchor into the collective consciousness? The third eclipse is the point of no return. Once you step into your true creatorhood, you cannot go back to sleep. You cannot pretend to be powerless. You cannot hide behind excuses. You see the threads of reality for what they are, malleable, responsive to your thoughts, your emotions, your deepest intentions. You understand that every act of creation begins first within, that your internal landscape is not separate from the external world, but is its blueprint. And so you learn to tend to your inner world with the devotion of a master artist, sculpting your beliefs, your feelings, your visions with care, knowing that they will ripple outward and shape everything around you. At this stage, you are no longer waiting for a savior. You have become the one you were waiting for. You are no longer hoping for miracles. You are creating them. You are no longer asking for a sign. You are living as the sign. Every step you take, every word you speak, every breath you draw becomes a declaration of your divinity, a brushstroke on the evolving canvas of existence. But power is not without its challenges. As you step into your infinite nature, you will see that there are still forces in the world that thrive on fear, on division, on disempowerment. You will feel the pull of the old energies, the temptation to shrink, to dim your light, to make others comfortable. But you will also know that to betray your light is to betray the very reason you came here. You must be willing to stand tall, to shine unapologetically, to embody the frequency of freedom even when it makes others uncomfortable. Your light is not here to soothe the wounds of those who refuse to heal. Your light is here to ignite the hearts of those who are ready to remember. The third eclipse marks the beginning of your true service to the world, not service rooted in martyrdom or sacrifice, but service rooted in joy, in overflow, in the unstoppable river of creative force that now moves through you without resistance. You serve not because you must, but because you cannot help it. Your very being becomes a blessing. Your very existence becomes a prayer. And so I ask you, at the end of this sacred journey, what worlds will you create with the power you have reclaimed? What wonders will you birth into existence with the fire of your awakened soul? What legacy will you leave, not carved in stone, but woven into the very fabric of human consciousness? The third eclipse is the final key, the final unlocking of all that you are. It is not the end of your journey, it is the true beginning, the moment you stop surviving and start creating, the moment you stop existing and start living as the vast, luminous, infinite being you were always destined to become. You are not here to witness miracles. You are here to be the miracle. You are not here to be shaped by the world. You are here to shape it. You are not here to wonder if you are chosen. You are here because you are. And now it is time to rise.